I'd like to talk a little bit about the 30,000-year-old Venus of Willendorf, who I think looks very much like the landscape she was found in. Could it be a coincidence? Yes, of course it could be a coincidence. However, I'm intending to do a series on just how many Venus statues can be aligned to the landscape like this, and I hope at the end of it I've presented a body of evidence to illustrate that cave art and Venus figurines are effigies of the landscape. The most obvious correlation here is the contours of the Venus and the bends in the river. She was found in 1908, buried on the riverbank somewhere around where her thigh is. It's not known if she was placed there deliberately or environmental conditions caused her to end up in that location. But I think it's deliberate, given that most of the other Venus figurines have been found in very similar location. Let's take a closer look at her head. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that represents the top of her head or the line of the hat that she seems to be wearing, and her head might be a bit bigger than that, as there's two valleys that run there. But as you can see, it does fit nicely when we put a shadow of the Venus over it. And as we do, it starts to give context as to why she might be depicted the way she is. She's thought to be wearing some sort of headdress that might be woven basket material, and that certainly does a good job of representing these hills on the north side of the river. If we take this to be a head, you can see how the river sort of loops under her neck. I think she's a composite of a profile and a full-on image of a woman that they saw both in the landscape. Moving on to where her arms should be, there's a series of crisscrossing valleys. I hope it's not just me and other people can see the resemblance. Perhaps she functions as a kind of mnemonic object, aiding people in visualising the landscape around them. And all in all, she represents about 10 miles of river. I like this part. It's a really good match up on her hip. There's a valley going in there, and you can see those little notches carved into her. Despite the size of her, she would have been quite easy to walk over and around. And you've got to remember, these people lived in this landscape, understanding it was their life. It also makes sense if they have a physical object that's can be visualised by everybody and agreed upon. She was discovered somewhere around here, and the museum's down there as well. Actually near where the hole is, but the holes are natural, they're not. It's where it had other rocks in it that they had to chink out. The Venus also fits face on as well, so I'm not entirely sure if one's right and the other's wrong, or it is deliberately laid out this way. As you can see, if we include this other set of mountains here. So if we were going to recreate her like that, then I'd maybe place her head up here. It's another suggestion for it. That these two regions represent her breasts. Mountain ranges there, and that this would be the bottom of her. She could actually be bigger than that. There's a little bit of leeway, but the main points are still in place. Her head, her arms, her breasts, the curve of the river. Plus, if we take a close-up look at these hills where her head would be, they are arranged in parallel rows which match up with her basket weave headdress. So if we look at the lower half of her body, she doesn't have any feet, she's just got thighs and genitalia, and I think this little valley here actually represents that. You can see there's a vertical line going up there, and then it splits off, and that's in the right place. So, can you see a Venus in the landscape? Like I said, I might be right, I might be wrong, but it's a different idea, and it's also one that would actually be very useful for the people that made her. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and there'll be more of these videos as and when I get a chance to make them.